Lois, welcome Olawale, okay? Welcome Taiwo, welcome Wasiu, welcome Wealth. Okay, so I'm sure we enjoyed the session yesterday, and that today we are expecting something even bigger. I'm sure that yesterday was exciting, and that today we are expecting something even more. And if that's the case, I would like, as always, just like we did yesterday, I would like us to, send to the chat box, send the program that you registered for. All right, of course, you're an alumni, like I mentioned yesterday. This session is not a Tenalytics masterclass. Okay, so this is not a masterclass. This is not a session that is for Tenalytics, but this is a session for you. This is an event for you, and I'm referring to each and every one of our alumni. Okay, so just like we did yesterday, I want us to do same today. And what do I mean by that? I want you to send to the chat box your name and the program you registered for or to, okay? And also the cohort. All right, so let's get that done. Hello, Wasiu. Okay, so I want everyone to respond. I want everyone to respond. Who knows? Probably at the end of today, we are going to have another wild card. Probably. I really don't know how that would go. Maybe it will be due to your responses, and then I'll decide if we can have another wildcard today that we joined the 4 winners yesterday that got to win that exciting prize. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. Okay, so we have Abimbola from HR, that's HR Analytics from 2023 cohort. We have Wasiu from BA from the April cohort. I need more responses. All right, I need more responses. Come on, guys, more responses. So let's send that to the chat box. Your name and also your name, the program you registered for, and also the cohorts you were registered. And we have Lois Owumi from BA from the November cohort, 2023, November last year. Okay. We have James from Scrum Master, that's Scrum Master May cohort, 2024. We have Adegoke from Data Analytics, that's Data Analytics cohort, February 2023. We have Olawale from FSDS, that's Full Stack Data Science from EU, February. And we have lots more, and I'm sure the more comments are going to be, moving to the chat box. Okay, and I'll try my best to read as much as I can. But again, I would like to introduce myself. Okay, I'm Aisisa Gbonlaho, the training operations lead here at Analytics. We got to know me yesterday, and of course, I'm well experienced in data analytics, in data engineering, predictive AI engineering as well, power platform engineering, just to name a few. Fun things about me, I can speak French, okay? But that's just by the way, okay? Today, we are going to be having another session. Today, we are going to debunk some of the things that we face. And when I say we, I'm referring to each and every one of you on the call. Now, yesterday, we had an amazing time where we were able to break some sort of barrier in terms of applying for roles. And of course, we conquered stage fright in terms of interviewing. And for the top 3 candidates, and then we had the wild card, they got to win over 50 jobs being applied to on their behalf. And we had a lot of fun yesterday. Today, we are going to be culminating on all of that. Today, we are going to take a look at how you can succeed with your current tech skills. Today, we are going to take a look at how you can overcome imposter syndrome, how you can be confident enough with your skills to go ahead to apply for roles, and of course, for you to get the job. Like I said, here at Tenalytics, what we say is a success. What's a success to us is you getting the job, you learning the skills, it's a given. But what we call success, it's you getting a job. And that is what the session today is all about. All right. And with me, I have fantastic speakers, industry leaders that are going to be sharing their insights with us. All right. I have Christiana Olusegun. Christiana is a cybersecurity analyst. So, of course, they are going to introduce themselves very soon. Okay. I have Christiana Olusegun. Christiana is cybersecurity analyst. I have Seun Adewumi. Seun Adewumi is a global HR leader. And I also have Taye. Okay, so Taye is a lead data engineer. Okay, that's Taye Olufemi. Apologies if I did not pronounce your name correctly, but of course, like I mentioned, we are going to bring on the speakers so they get to introduce themselves, and we're going to learn a lot from them. Industry leaders, they're going to show us and tell us how they were able to overcome imposter syndrome, how you can also overcome imposter syndrome, how you can go ahead to succeed in your role and with your current tech skills. Who is excited? Come on, guys. You know, ISSR is a bit unique in terms of its prompts. All right. Yesterday, we got to know that I don't just want one or two of reactions. I want phrases. So if you're excited, send, oh, I am excited to the chat box. I am excited. Okay. Send I am excited to the chat box if you know that you're excited and that you're ready to go. Send I am excited to the chat box. I need more responses now, okay? More responses, more responses. Send I am excited to the chat box. All right, fantastic. Thank you very much for that, everyone. So I'm going to call on the speakers so they get to introduce themselves, and then, of course, we move into it. We get to pick their brains, and we get to learn a lot. All right, I'm going to begin with Christiana. Christiana Olusegun, please, can you go ahead to turn on your video, and please just give us a little bit about yourself, because I know that you're a very, very interesting individual, and you have an amazing personality, and of course, would love to hear from you, Christiana. Hello, Christiana. If you're speaking, you're muted, okay?
Hello, Elsa. Hey, Sosa.
Are so, sir?
Pardon my
It's
pronunciation.
fine. It's fine. It's totally fine. Okay.
Okay, no
Yeah.
problem. Thank you very much for having me here. I mean, it's such a pleasure to be here. Speaking to everyone here, my alumni of 10 analytics. So let me just go straight to the point. As you all know, my name is Christiana Olusegun, and I'm a cybersecurity analyst. I started cybersecurity in the year 2021, yeah. And that's how I started, self-taught, no good going to a tech school or anything. It was all self-taught. And I'm excited to be here to share my insights with you, strategies that I used in getting to where I am currently. I'm not going to tell myself that I've gotten there yet. It is still a learning ground for me, continuous learning, and I hope that we all benefit and also learn from everyone, and also can't wait to network with every other person too. Thank you.
Exactly. Thank you very much, Christiana. That was amazing. A self-taught cybersecurity analyst that's making waves in our own space. Wow. I have a lot to do. Thank you very much for that, Christiana. So next we're going to move to Taiwo Olorunfemi. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you so much for this opportunity. I believe it's an opportunity for all of us to learn, right? So my name is Taye or Taiwo. You can also call me Taiwo. Taye Moses Olorunfemi, right? I have more than 20 years of experience, right? Out of this, about 14 years at least covers data engineering, data analytics, business intelligence, machine learning, anything that has to do with data end to end, big data analytics, also cloud computing, also have experience. This experience cut across banking industry, insurance industry, and more recently, telecommunication industry. So I believe this would be an opportunity for us to interact and get to know how some of us have been able to sustain, because it's one thing to attain, another thing is to sustain, to continue to be relevant in the industry, because the truth is technology space is a very fast-paced industry. Things are changing very fast. And for you to continually to be relevant in the industry, you have to continually learn, so this would be an opportunity for us to do that. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that, Tyrell. It's like one thing I took from your introduction, technology, it's a continuous changing, it's a fast-paced industry. And I feel that that is one of the reasons why people always feel like that they really don't know enough, and that, oh, before I do A, we are already in Z. Okay. And I'm sure that, of course, you have more insights to deliver on that. Okay, so I'm just going to put a lead on it right now till we eventually uncork the bottle. If you get what I mean. And thank you very much, Taiwo, for that fantastic introduction. Next, we have Seun Adewumi. Please, Seun, can you turn on your video so I can spotlight you? Are you there, Seun?
Yeah, hello everyone. Just for some reason, my video has decided that it doesn't want any video. Just a second to all this pop up.
Okay, so I didn't get that.
Okay, can you hear me all? Good evening. Hello everyone.
Okay, yeah, this is better. I can hear you now. Hello.
Okay. Hi. For some reason, my camera has refused to come on. Strange.
Okay. All right. So while you try to fix that, maybe you can just give a quick introduction about yourself, okay? And while you try to fix that, we move on, then you can jump back in.
Okay, great. Okay, you can still hear me, right?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Seun Adewumi.
Okay, so
technology transformational process. I also am the founder of Jaminil Consulting. It's an HR consultancy company where, again, we partner with a lot of technology organizations into driving talent and capacity development in the technology space. I've been in the talent management space for about 15 years, over 15 years. And it's an absolute pleasure and delight to be here. I'm very passionate about the subject matter. So I'm looking forward to also learning, relearning, unlearning, and then just bonding with everyone on the call. Thanks. Please confirm.
Thank you very much for that. Yeah, I can see you. Okay, and it's nice to see you, Seun. Okay.
Same here.
Although your bandwidth seems to be a bit low. Okay.
Oh,
your
really?
Bandwidth seems to be a bit low.
So
yeah.
I'll just adjust that. Yeah.
Okay. All right then. So thank you very much, Seun. So you can see, guys, the speakers we have, they have lots of experience in the industry. And like I mentioned earlier, we are going to be learning a lot from them. I myself as well, I'm going to be learning a lot from Taiwo, from Seun, and also from Christiana. And I'm probably learning from you guys on the call as well, as I'm talking to each and every one of the alumnus, okay? Each and every one of the alumni. Not each and every one of the alumnus, actually each and every one of the alumni. English. Anyways, thank you very much for that introduction. And I would want us to begin. Okay, I would want us to begin with just trying to give a brief intro on what we think, or what we know, rather, that imposter syndrome is all about, and why people actually do suffer from it. All right, just for us to, maybe you've experienced imposter syndrome before, or anyways, before we get into that, okay, let's just give a general introduction for people that might be on the call that might not really know that they have imposter syndrome, so everyone is on the same page before we move ahead. Okay, so with that, I'm going to begin with Christiana. So Christiana, if you can just speak quickly on that.
Okay, thank you very much, Esosa. So this topic, overcoming imposter syndrome, is something that majority of us face in the tech industry, both men and women, people across different age, even the seasoned professionals, industry vanguards, industry experts, everyone faces it. So what I know in imposter syndrome to be is that it's a psychological thing, something that you feel like you're not sufficient enough, lack of self-sufficiency, let me put it that way. Demeaning your accomplishment, thinking that you are not enough to take up a particular role, while you have people that are always, cheering you up.
Okay, so I think we might have lost Christiana. Okay. All right, so I think we might have lost Christiana. So we're going to come back to Christiana. Okay. So let's go with Shaun. All right. So we go with Shaun, and then of course we have Tyro. So Shaun, please go ahead.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so basically, imposter syndrome is, I'm for lack of a better word, it's like a fear. It's a psychological phenomenon, if you like, where people doubt your accomplishments, and the fear of being, for lack of a better word, unmasked or being seen as a fraud. And it happens to even the most qualified people. So despite all your qualifications, your competence, you still feel like you're a fraud. You feel like you'll be found out, or you're not good enough. You feel like you're not as good as other people think that you are, and that one day or at some point you'll be exposed. So that's basically the simple definition of imposter syndrome. And many IT professionals, many technology people in tech space suffer from imposter syndrome at some point in their careers.
Oh, fantastic. So imposter syndrome is something that many persons suffer from. That was your last phrase. Many tech professionals suffer from. And it's something that we do really need to take a look at. Yeah, but before we do that, I would like to hear from Tyro. Tyro, please, so how would you explain imposter syndrome to the alumni we have on the call?
Yeah, thanks for that. So just to buttress what has been spoken about by Shaun and Christiana, right? Imposter syndrome simply shows like a feeling of self-doubt, right? For somebody to feel like not up to measure with respect to the skill level, not having confidence with respect to your level. And it got across like it was mentioned, it can affect anybody regardless of your level of experience at one time or the other, whether consciously or unconsciously. We might have experienced that in course of our career. So that's basically what it is. The self-doubt about somebody's achievement, despite what you have achieved, self-doubt, not having confidence about it. That's basically what it is. And then like Shehu mentioned, the fear that you now have of feeling that, oh, you might be exposed, somebody might say, oh, you are not up to measure in this area. So that's basically what it's all about. Thanks.
Oh, all right, all right. Thank you very much for that, Tyro. You mentioned it usually comes when someone feels that they are not good enough. But is that feeling innate? Is that feeling something that is in each and every one of us? What I just want to know, is why do tech professionals actually suffer from this? Because imposter syndrome is something that you might feel it's usually among peers. Maybe you are with your friends and you feel like you are not on par with your friends, and then you might feel like you are an imposter in that group. Why does that also affect tech professionals when initially they made that decision to transition into tech, but now they are feeling they are not in the right place? Why do tech professionals actually suffer from imposter syndrome, Tyro?
Okay, so one of the common reason for that, because it's a fast-paced industry, things are changing very fast. So people tend to feel like they are behind, right? So the rapid changes, and then the tendency to compare yourself with other people, right, is also one of the reasons, right, that can also lead to that. So I don't know if that answered that question.
Yes. That's actually did. That's actually did. I would also like to hear from Sharon. So Sharon, what do you think? Why do tech professionals suffer from this?
Okay, great. Thanks again, Isosa. So there are loads of reasons why tech people suffer a lot from imposter syndrome. And if I dare to say, even beyond tech people as well, generally professionals suffer from imposter syndrome. One of the main reasons, I think, in my opinion, is self-doubt. So first of all, people have very high expectations of tech people, right? I see it all the time in my office when I have a challenge and I call the IT or the tech guy, and I'm expecting that he just comes and does some magic. I'm not expecting that he'll be struggling and trying to figure it out while he's next to me. I'm expecting that he's able to jump on it and deliver almost immediately. So there's a lot of high expectations from from people or other colleagues when they hear, oh, I'm a tech person, right? And then also that people assume that tech guys are jigs, like they assume that you're a genius, especially if you've diversified. If you've diversified from a non-tech to tech, if you had a non-tech background, for example, and then you move into tech, there's that whole, the imposter syndrome potential is stronger because you're thinking, I didn't have an A in math when I was in secondary school, and here I am claiming to be a business analyst, for example, so it's stronger. So number one, self-doubt. Number two, a lot of changes happen in the tech space. So just when you think you've mastered this technology, there's another version of it. And just when you're in a conversation telling someone, you could have a client telling you, oh no, that's not the latest one, I have the latest version, etc. So that as well. So the fear of not living up to expectation, right? And then a lot of challenges. The tech space has become more, it's evolved, it's become more global as well. So and then also we have a whole lot of there's a lot more competition. In the past, there were not a lot of people in the tech space. It was fewer people. Now there's a whole lot more competition. So there's more people, and you're having people who are top notch, young people starting global organizations that are excelling in comparison to even oil and gas spaces, right? So all of that are reasons why people start to fear because of unnecessary competition. Some people are self-taught, they didn't go to school to learn by themselves, and they're really good, but just that thought of knowing, oh, I did this by myself, am I sure? All the doubts start to create warfare. I don't want to take too much time, but I'll come back later to add on some more things.
Yeah, thank you very much for that, Cheryl. From what you mentioned, you talked about people that were self-taught, not having that confidence because so now you have many persons saying that, oh, I want to get into tech, I want to get into tech, or I want to be a data analyst, I want to be a business analyst. We are having a higher trend now more than ever. And some persons might feel that they are not on par with those other persons. Oh, I can do this. I can't do this. Oh, this person has 2 degrees in tech, if there's anything of that such. Or this person has a master's in data science, and this person has a PhD in something else relating to data. And I just went ahead to learn. I have my skills. I'm self-taught. And I don't think I can be at the same level as this person. And I think that is something that many persons do suffer from, Sharon, just like you have pointed out. And this will move me to Christiana. So Christiana, at the start of the session, you mentioned that you are a self-taught cybersecurity analyst. Have you ever been faced with imposter syndrome? Maybe you felt imposter syndrome sometime in your career. Okay, so I would have really loved to hear from Christiana, and Christiana seems to be having some really terrible network issues. Okay, and that's something I would have really loved to hear from Christiana. I think it relates to her directly. But Taiwo, what do you think? Have you ever been faced with imposter syndrome in your career?
Yes, I've had that experience before, although it wasn't so conscious for me, but somehow you have it. So for me, I started my career not as a tech person. I started as a banking operation person, so banking operation. And in the course of my career in banking operations, I realized that I began to solve a lot of people's problems that has to do with tech, right? And then I began to get feedback from people. So feedback from people with respect to, oh, you have passion for this thing. Why don't you go for it? Right? That was one of the motivation that I got that actually motivated me to move into tech. Now, crossing to tech, you now realize that, wow, my background is not in computer science. I studied chemical engineering, which is totally different, right? But the fact that I have the engineering background, I believe I have the confidence that I should be able to cope. And then giving the feedback I was getting from people. Then crossing to IT, I realized that, wow, technology is a very big space. Then I needed to look for an area, right, that I have passion for, right? Beyond looking for an area that I have passion for, so it takes time for me to also settle down and pick a particular area. And then the confidence respect to programming, because writing code is one of the, very key area, selling point for you when you want to venture into tech. If you are good at coding, of course, the value, the premium that will be placed on you will be very high. So that was one of the area I struggled with initially, but with feedback from people and then with mentorship, right, interacting with people, it actually helped me to stabilize, and then having looked for an area where I have passion for, which is more of data and analytics. Then I was able to focus on that area. So I had that challenge when I was crossing to tech, because my background was not in technology, right? So I had that experience. Thank you.
Thank you, Tyro, for that, for sharing that experience. Because I feel many persons on the call actually where you are actually where you were, rather. They are where you were years ago, thinking of how to make that switch. You are coming from a banking background and now you're a lead data engineer. And we have people on the call with similar experience, or some persons where they were teaching previously and they are looking to make that switch. And how can they do this? Some persons, they were in another sector, different industry entirely, and they are looking to get into tech and they are wondering, how can I get this done? And we can see that Taiwo was able to make that switch. One key point I took from what Taiwo mentioned was mentorship, and being able to speak with others, having a good network, and being mentored. That would actually do boost your confidence to take off that imposter syndrome. All right. We have Christiana. Christiana is back, and I really do hope Christiana is here to stay. Okay. So Christiana, before you left, I asked, okay, you mentioned that you are a self-taught cybersecurity analyst, and today you
Yes.
work as a cybersecurity analyst. That's absolutely fantastic. It's amazing. Okay, that's again where you are at the moment. Many persons on the call are looking to get to that point as well. Did you ever in your career
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. You can also turn off your video, Christiana, if that would preserve your bandwidth. Okay. So
Oh,
yeah.
does it work that way?
Yes, sometimes if
Yeah.
it's not so bad. Yeah, if it's not so bad, it works. Yes.
Okay. I don't know
Yeah.
what's wrong with MTN. It's been working fine since all day.
Yeah.
Trying to act funny now. Okay, so for me, I also do not have a tech background. I have a degree in biology education, science education. So I taught for some years, and I also worked in the HR and admin department as an administrative assistant before I started learning cybersecurity. So I just found out that I was not doing enough as an administrative assistant, and I wanted to transition into tech. So I was using all of those free time I had to start learning. I was learning courses. Um, I went on social media. I was looking for people that were already in this field as I was. I joined communities. From there, joining communities, doing online forums, webinars just like this. We're always learning and doing all of those stuff. So it was not really easy. It was not easy for me, especially in cybersecurity. It is fast rising. It is a very evolving landscape that waits for no one. So you just need to catch up as much as you can. So, so my part of imposter syndrome, I would say that I really had a lot of imposter syndrome because I'm a risk taker. I just decided to resign from this job, and I said, okay, I was going for it. So I applied for this boot camp. This boot camp required that we be camped in a different environment, a different space. This was on the island. So because I'm based in Lagos, I stay in Lagos. So when I started this boot camp, it was of the hope that we were going to get jobs after like 3 months. And at the end of everything, something led to another and I lost the opportunity. So, I could not go back to my former place of work. I had to just stick into it. So for like another 4 months, I was jobless. And those 4 months, what was I doing with it? I was still learning. I was learning and praying to God, let a miracle just happen. And that was how I landed where I am now. So what I did was I was meeting founders in cybersecurity all around LinkedIn that I wanted to work for free without any pay until when I'm able to deliver value to you. And I was lucky to find an employer that was willing to pay me, and I started delivering value, and I've been there doing this job. So imposter syndrome was there, but I was just determined. I set my goals and I ensured that I achieved them.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Christiana. Christiana took us on a very, very long journey. Okay. And I believe I was able to travel with Christiana. I was at the back seat though, so she was the driver, okay, and taking us to our destination. Anyways, thank you very much, Christiana, for that. Okay, so Christiana, one thing that she mentioned is that she did not encounter imposter syndrome. And why? Because she was able to take risks. So one way that you can overcome imposter syndrome at the moment is not to be scared about anything. What's the worst that can happen? That's something that you should always think about. Okay. One thing that I would want to know now, okay, and this would go to you, Sean, having been a global HR leader. I'm sure that you've interacted with numerous CVs, you've recruited numerous people, you understand the brain behind applicants. Okay, that's people that are looking to apply for jobs and all of that. Okay, but what do you think people can do? What do you think individuals can do? What do you think tech professionals can do to confidently apply for tech jobs when they feel their skills might not be enough? What can they do? So if you feel your skills are not enough, should you go ahead to apply? Should you not apply? How should you apply? Should you apply this way? Should you apply that way? What do you think, Sean?
Okay, so can you take the question again? Sorry.
All right. So I'm asking, how can tech professionals or individuals now confidently apply for tech roles when they feel their skills might not be enough?
Okay, great, thanks. So first of all, the emphasis on fear. When you feel your skills are not enough, is it just your feeling or they're really not enough? So first things first. So you need to be honest with yourself. Ibukun Oshika, in many of her sessions that I sit in, will say, to thyself be true. So first things first, be true to yourself. Is it a feeling or in terms of imposter syndrome, or it's a reality? So first things first, we need to clarify. So when you've clarified and you've ascertained that you are qualified, you meet the requirements, everything else is easy peasy. If you don't meet the requirements, again, you want to go to organizations like Internal Analytics to get trained, develop yourself, read up, etc. If you identify that you meet the requirements and it's a feeling, so for personally, what I do in interviews, by the way, HR people can tell when you're struggling with confidence because it just shows in your way of responding to your questions, etc. But I would say that your feelings sometimes are not the reality. So hence why, number one, you need to be true to yourself. When you be true to yourself and you've ascertained that you do meet the requirements, you've seen what the job requirements are, sometimes even if you meet 80%, you're fine to apply. Because again, there's a lot of brain drain and they were looking for talent. Organizations are continually looking for talent. So I think the most important thing is applying for the role that you're suitable for, right? And you don't even have to be 100%. If you have at least 80% of the skills, you can still apply and prepare for interviews. We learn on the job. Nobody knows it enough, right? There's no 100%. Nobody who is really fully prepared. In fact, half the time, major online managers are looking for talent because they don't also have the skill, and they're looking for people who can help them sort of strengthen their team. So I think first of all, it's important to believe in yourself. Surround yourself with, with truth tellers and people who will motivate you positively. And, so try and quiet the negative voices around you. Let me give an example. Last week, I interviewed for a high-level leadership program. And it's supposed to be a sponsorship. So it's a high-level leadership program. It's very expensive. I knew that I qualified, but I was just wondering, do you think they will take you? I mean, people are applying from different parts of the world. Are you sure you'd be suitable? But guess what? At the end of the interview, the lady said, "Oh my God, she gave all sorts of amazing comments." And I'm thinking, wait, is this message for me? And that's just how powerful the mind is, right? So it's important that we're speaking to ourselves and telling ourselves the truth and motivating ourselves. Sometimes it depends on what level you are at, but even if it means writing yourself affirmations, right? Writing positive affirmations and writing your plans and working with it, right? So basically develop the skills and just apply. You just never know. You only need 1 year. So you can get 2,000 notes, but you only need 1 year. So just make sure you develop your skill and apply regardless of how you feel. What you feel would not matter when you eventually land the job. Thanks,
Yeah. What you feel would not matter when you eventually land the job. Now that is a very, very good one. That's a very, very good one. You don't need to fear. As long as you know that you're capable, you can go ahead to apply. And while Sean was talking about experience when having been interviewed for a role, I just kind of what's the word now when I've forgotten the English word. Like I'm in the same plane. Something is, anyways, that's by the way. Okay, so I just began to think back, knowing that I've been in similar situations. At the start of the session, we have made like Taiwo mentioned that he studied chemical engineering. I'm sure I got that right,
Yeah.
Taiwo.
Yes.
Christiana about the fact that she studied biology and now she's a cybersecurity analyst, while Taro is a lead data engineer. When I started my career in tech, okay, I was still in the position that many of us on the call that we are in at the moment. For one, I studied forestry and wildlife. I'm a forester by profession. You can go ahead to ask me the different names of trees, and that I'm talking about the botanical names now. Or maybe you want to know, I will tell you things about the forest you didn't even know existed. And now, when I take a look at my career now, what I do is so different from the forest. I think in the forest there's no internet connection now for you to even be online. Okay, so yeah, so it's so different now. And taking a look at my career now, I've been able to work in different organizations across the US, the UK, Canada. Just last 2 months, I worked on a project with a Singaporean company, and no one really asks about, oh, where are you coming from, or no one really asks about, oh, what did you study in school, and that's something I just thought about. And also, when I went ahead to apply for jobs, this is going to lead me to my next question, or it is going to lead me to my next question, and this will be for Tyro. When I went ahead to apply for jobs at the start of my career, now it's now the other way around. So people are applying to me, but that's just by the way. Okay, so when I was going ahead to apply for jobs, there was this fear in terms of the job requirements. Sean talked about something like this as well. Sean mentioned a thing or two about this. That applying for jobs, you just see the job requirements and then you see someone, oh, I need someone that can build a plane. And you really can't build a plane. So maybe you can't even ride a plane. Maybe you don't even know what an airplane is. And should that stop you from applying for a role when something in the job description says, oh, I need someone that can come over to build me an airplane? So to rephrase the question, Tyro, what advice would you give to us on the call that when we feel we don't really meet the job requirement listed in a posting? So I want to go ahead to apply for a job, maybe on Indeed, on LinkedIn, on Inbuilt, on reads.co.uk, as the case may be. And I take a look at the job requirements, and I feel there's a thing that I feel like, oh, I don't have all of the skills. What would be your advice, Tyro?
Okay, thanks for that question. Very good question. So the first and foremost is back to what Shion spoke about, right? The fact that they have requirement for the job, the fact that one has not met all the requirements 100%, does not mean that one should not apply for the job, right? So the first thing to look at is sometimes when you have the job, what they call job description for every role that is, advertised. Sometimes you have what they call mandatory requirement and then nice to have, right? If you look at the mandatory requirement, like what Shion has mentioned, if you look at mandatory requirement, and to a large extent, more than 70%, you see that it's an area you can handle, right? I believe it's something you can go for. You can apply for that job. That's one. Two, if you are still having some kind of doubt, there might also be need to talk to somebody that you can confide in, right? Somebody that you are close to have a conversation with, that this role is something you are interested, is a role you are interested in applying for, but you have a feeling that you may not be up to measure for this. Can the person advise you? And somebody that knows you very well, that has worked closely with you, right? That's also one way you can that can help you to also go for it, right? In terms of the advice. Also, you probably look at the skill gap. So when you look at the job requirement and then look at what you have achieved, because when a job is advertised, right, you have your own CV where you have explained what you have done, all the projects you have executed over time. If you place it side by side with what is required in that role, if you are up to measure, that's another way of also measuring yourself that, hey, looking at this role, I believe based on so and so that I've done over time, I should be able to apply for this. So you also look at your CV, look at what you have done over time, the project you have been involved in. It's also an area to also help the person to know to what extent am I qualified for this role. But like, essentially, if you don't have to be 100% qualified. What's also more important is the attitude to that role. If you are called for an interview, how enthusiastic you are about it, how willing are you to learn, right? How passionate are you about it? I always like to mention the fact that it must be something you are passionate about. If it's something you are passionate about, you always do well in it. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Tyro. Tyro mentioned that you don't have to be 100% qualified to go ahead to apply for a role. And I was watching some videos on YouTube whenever I do have the free time, the spare time, just go. I love YouTube. Okay. So I was watching some videos on YouTube where there was this interview between two HR professionals. And one of the questions that was asked was, when you go ahead to apply, when you post a job, like a job posting, how frequently do you end up applying? How frequently do you end up employing a candidate with 100% of the requirements? And one of the speakers mentioned 0.01%. That's like next to never. So they mentioned this phrase that we are always looking for a unicorn. And what's a unicorn? A unicorn is a horse that has a horn and doesn't exist. So I'm sure if we have kids, if we have kids at home, okay, so maybe they know what a unicorn is. You can speak to them and say, oh, yeah, maybe they would even want you to buy them a unicorn or something as a pet, okay? So, but it doesn't really exist. And that was what the recruiter mentioned, that we are searching for a unicorn. Because when we go ahead to have to send the job post, why don't we just, we want the best. We know this person might not exist because a unicorn does not exist. But since we are going out there to post a job, why don't we just place everything in there? So you don't have to have 100% of the job requirements for you to go ahead to apply for the job, just like Tyro mentioned. And thank you very much for that, Tyro. That was very, very brilliant. Now, relating to building confidence, we've seen what imposter syndrome is, and how imposter syndrome has affected us from time to time. But now, for people that are already, I don't want to say infected, it's not a disease, okay, but people that are already suffering from imposter syndrome, how can they build confidence in their skill? How can you always, continuously build and validate your tech skills to know if you are good enough for the current tech climb? All right. So I would want Christiana to take this. So Christiana, what do you think? How can you continuously build your tech skills and always validate yourself and of course build confidence?
Thank you very much for this question. I just quickly want to add to what Mr. Taiwo said about the job. So for me, what I think is that job descriptions are like wish lists. They are not all checklists. So an HR is just putting it out there. I'm sure they don't expect you to have everything, and it's okay not to know everything. So if you have about 70% to 80%, just go for it and apply for the job. So about building confidence, like I said earlier on, setting realistic goals. Set a goal, have a goal for yourself. There's something they call the SMART goals. Your goals have to be specific, measurable, achievable, reliable, and also time-bound. So you have to be able to know what you're doing. And also to build your confidence and also to stop imposter syndrome, you also need to be able to take risk. Like I said, just go for it. What's the worst that could happen? Is no. And you send countless of CVs for applications, you get no, I'm sorry, we are unable to move on with this candidate, blah, 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 yada, yada. It's just one of those things. And you just need that one job that's going to change your life. So we should be open to learning, open to mentorship, and also make sure that you are in a community where you are able to meet other people that can help you with accountability. It's very important for you to have people who are above you that can help you mentor, have people within your level that you can have as mates for accountability, and also people below you, below your level, so that you can also teach them. Because for me as an educationist also, I notice that when I teach people things, they stick into my head and I don't forget it. So one of the ways to build confidence is for you to always impact into other people, so that when you are the front line of an interview, you know what you're doing. And then the confidence, you are skyrocketing from there. So I think that's one of the ways to build confidence.
Thank you very much for that, Christiana. So Christiana mentioned one of the way you can build confidence in your skills is what? Having mentors and having those you mentor or teach. All right. So that's a good way to get knowledge from someone that knows more than you, and for you to maintain your own knowledge by teaching others. All right. And that's a very, very good one. I would also like to hear from you, Tyro. What do you think, in addition to what Christian has mentioned, what do you think you can do to continuously validate your tech skills and, of course, build confidence?
Yes, so it comes back to what I said initially, that number one, the foundation to everything is your passion. How passionate are you about that area? So if you are passionate about it, to a large extent, you have sorted the confidence part, right? That's number one. Number two is one must have a commitment to continuous learning. In the technology space, you cannot afford to not to commit yourself to that course, right? As you are learning, new things are coming. So one of the things that one should also look at, that is what they call technology trends, right? On a yearly basis, you need to also look at technology trends. What are the things that are trending this year, right? In my space, having carved a niche, having looked for an area that you are passionate about, because that area itself will continue to expand, will continue to evolve over time. So what are the trends in that area, right? I believe so much in focusing on an area. If it's data and AI, focus on data and AI. If it's cybersecurity, focus on cybersecurity, right? You go far with that, right? So one has to be committed to continuous learning. There are different certifications you can do. There are loads of information. There are different sites where you can get a lot of information almost free, cheap. YouTube is there. There are so many information available on YouTube that you can use to even train yourself. You have even sites like Udemy, which is, they are committed to people doing certification. You can, go for training to train yourself at your own pace, right? With very relatively cheap amount of money. So one can enroll for such program. Different programs are available like that. Then there's also importance of connecting with the industry professionals, experts in that area. So if you have chosen a particular area, for example, if it's data and AI, look for people who are experts, who have experience in that area, and connect with them. That's networking, very important, because you can learn a lot from them. You can actually, you won't end up making mistakes. You can actually learn and even move faster than them. You will not end up making the same mistake they must have made. So you can leverage on their experience. Let me use that word. And then conferences, one can be attending conferences also. It's also an opportunity to, to rub minds with people, to gain a lot of ideas with people, from other people. And then feedback is also important. Once you also solicit feedback from people, feedback from colleagues, feedback from senior people above you, that feedback also help you over time to build your confidence. I gave an example of the fact that when I was in banking operation, I started my career in banking operations as a chemical engineer. And the feedback I was getting from people was, hey, you have passion for technology. Why don't you go to IT? What are you doing here? So those kind of feedback also help to build your confidence as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tyro. That is very, very amazing. Once you mentioned this continuous learning, having to continuously learn, because tech is a fast-moving industry. And of course, one thing that we always preach here at Analytics is that learning is that you always want to ensure that you have the skills, and of course you get the skills by learning, and that of course we supersede all other certifications. Of course, certifications most times are like a byproduct of you learning, okay? But you want to focus on the learning aspects of things and not really to get the certificates, because I would prefer someone that can go ahead to do the work than someone that has paper to brandish. But just like you said, continuous learning is very, very important. Looking to upskill, looking to learn more. And that leads me to Sheung. All right. So now that we know the tech is a fast-paced industry, we have new tools coming up day by day. We maybe by tomorrow you check the news, the tech, maybe a tech digest or something, and you see there's this new tool that is now in vogue. We know that we should always continuously learn, but how can that be balanced with the pressure of staying relevant in the industry? That is, how can me learning continuously how can I balance me learning continuously with me getting a job, with the entire pressure of being a techie? Does that mean that, oh, I should just learn and learn? Because learning doesn't end. Learning is continuous. That is the truth. Learning doesn't end. You learn at today, you think you're at the pinnacle, and then tomorrow you hear that there's something new. Okay, so now we have AI, everywhere. A couple of years ago, there was AI, but AI was not really as big as it is now. So how do you balance that? How do you balance continuously learning and staying relevant in the industry in terms of you being able to get a job, you being able to apply to jobs, and you being able to, like I said, get the job shown?
Okay, thanks for all the other speakers as well. I've learned a lot from this session. Okay, so to respond to you, how to balance out continuous learning, even in the pressure. I mean, so there's the pressure of looking for work. Again, the softer side, people don't talk about the pressure of even family. Some people have, spouses, children, they have caregivers. Some people are caregivers to their parents, and they're trying to still thrive in their career. So there's a whole paradigm, right? But for me, the strategies to balancing out is to just first of all realize that we're continuously evolving. You must get to a place of the mindset, because it all starts from the mind, and the mind is a powerful tool. So you must first recognize in your mind that the world is evolving and life is evolving, and there are different seasons in life. Once you've come to that realization, then the approach is to find balance. Staying organized. The word organized is used so loosely, but it's also such a powerful word, and a lot of people struggle with being organized. So when we say organized, we mean organizing the different aspects of your life at the different season that you're at. If you're early in your career, your priority is different. You're not worried about paying school fees, so your focus is to focus on learning and improving your skills. If you're at a stage where, money is priority to you, so your balance is now tilting more towards looking for roles. You're still learning, but now looking for roles that will be able to help pay your bills and still balance having a spouse, etc. So it's just really an entire dynamics of ensuring you're staying organized and prioritizing what's important to you at that point in time, not what's important to somebody else or somebody else's career. You could start with a cohort of friends all going through one trajectory, and by 4 years, everybody is going through a different pattern. Someone else is in Canada, someone else is in US, someone else is in the UK, and they have completely different trajectories. So do you and know what works for you, and know your mental capacity as well, so that you're not over trying to compete and then you're putting yourself in a box. There are many people who are drowning mentally now, and it's important that we also talk about this, right? And then also staying focused. So focus on your focus. I say that all the time. Don't focus on somebody else's focus. You focus on your focus, and if you need to change strategy, change it to adapt to where you're at during that season. But of course, also networking. But networking rightly, right? It's not, you don't have to go to all the conferences that are going on. Your time is also important to you. But strategically identify the conferences and the webinars that you would attend, and be intentional about networking with the right people and staying in touch, right? And investing in your personal brand. I think LinkedIn has come with a powerful opportunity for people to invest in their personal brand and talk about the knowledge. I can't count the number of speaking engagements invitations I've received on LinkedIn. I can't remember the number. I can't count the number, even as an HR professional, of potential recruiters who have reached out to me on LinkedIn, even though half the time I haven't been interested in the opportunity. But basically, invest in your personal brand and just be clear about the content you want to put out there and how you want to be seen, right? So it's a continuous journey. And the pressure never goes away. Someone said there's nothing like work-life balance. It doesn't exist, right? But you must always, it's almost like what's that word? When you have like it's like a measuring tool, in biology, where you have, when there's no balance, at some point your career is what's really taking all the focus. At some other time, it could be family, and then etc. It keeps, changing like that. But you must first of all recognize what works for you and what doesn't, and stay focused. If you're able to really organize yourself, stay focused, have the right circle of people around you, people who can tell you the truth, to say, oh, this is what's happening now. If you have a right mentor, the mistakes they've made, what would take somebody else 10 years to achieve, you can achieve in 1 or 2 years, learn from somebody else's experience and somebody else's story. So the pressure never really goes away, but balancing it. And as you progress, you begin to develop some more threshold and bandwidth to manage pressure. You know, like right now, my life is extremely busy. I'm not sure how I do it, but you find that you continue to develop more zeal, more capacity, and then that's pretty much it. Thanks. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Sharon. So Sharon said, as it said now, I think she didn't mention where she got the quote from. Okay, so but there's nothing like work-life balance, apparently. That's the new reality. Okay, so just like Sharon mentioned, the pressure is continuous. There's really nothing that there's no place you're going to learn to and say, oh, now I've arrived. So to everyone on the call, even while you are learning, that should not be a yardstick for you saying that, oh, I cannot go ahead to apply for job now because I have so many things to do. Or I have to take care of my spouse. I don't have the time to go ahead to apply. Or I have kids. Or I have to learn. No, while you are doing all of those things, you have to still find the time to apply for roles. And how can you do that? In addition to everything that you're doing, in addition to the entire pressure, just like Shane mentioned, having a fantastic LinkedIn profile. I think I mentioned this yesterday or in one of the sessions I've had during the week. I really can't pinpoint now, but I mentioned it when I'm working on a project and I need to deliver on time. And I don't have, I think okay, let's say I have a deadline for tomorrow or next or the day after tomorrow, okay? And I'm working on a project. I need to deliver on that project by that time. And I have so many things I'm doing. So I need to bring some persons to my team that would assist me in getting some other things done. I usually don't have the time to recruit in terms of posting a job update. Okay, maybe in one job board and say, oh, apply for this role. No, what do? I go on LinkedIn. I search. All right. I search for the job title. Oh, let's say I need a data analyst now. Okay. I need a data analyst to work with me in my team for maybe a short project, maybe a project that would last for 4 months, 5 months, just on a contract basis. Then I search for the profile. And of course, the first thing that attracts me to your profile picture, you want to ensure you have a fantastic profile picture, not that you are eating. LinkedIn is not Instagram. Don't make that mistake. Okay. So you're going to have a good profile picture, and then of course I open up the profile. I take a look at the features. What you've done, do I feel you'll be able to do what I need you to do? And then if I think that is the case, then I send you a message telling you that, oh, I have this role open. If you're interested, you can send in your CV. And then I go ahead to have an interview. And then, of course, if we do agree, I send you a contract. That is only possible if you have a great LinkedIn. You don't know what having a good LinkedIn profile can do for you, people. All right. So if you know your LinkedIn is looking one way and it's not looking the way, you need to ensure you tilt the LinkedIn profile from looking at that way to looking at the way. All right. And you want to ensure that you take Sean's advice in ensuring that you have a fantastic LinkedIn profile. And that, of course, you stick with the pressure. You just have to make things work. You just have to go ahead to continuously apply. And of course, you will be fine. Okay, and thank you very much, Sharon, for that. Oh, and this would lead me to Christiana. Okay, so Christiana, in terms of continuous learning, still on continuous learning now. All right, we've been able to see that tech is a fast-paced industry. You need to keep on. Oh, so we've lost Christiana again. Okay then. All right, no problem. So Tyrell, all right, so Tyrell, please. I would refer the question to you. So we've been able to establish that tech is a fast-moving industry. You need to learn. We've been able to see that you can go ahead that even while learning, you should go ahead to apply for roles. All right, even while learning, you can go ahead to apply for your roles, keep on applying and all of that. Now, in relation to that, Tyrell, okay, in relation to that, what do you think? What are some common misconceptions? So Christiana is back. Tyrell, apologies. I would if I can take I would like to take Christiana's input first of all, because I feel where she's coming from, being a self-taught cybersecurity analyst, I would like to hear a take first of all, Tyrell. Okay, sincere apologies. So Christiana, good to see that you are back. All right. So, Christina, I want to know, um, now that we've been able to see that tech is a fast-moving industry, all right, and that you need to continuously learn, what are the common misconceptions out there regarding your skill level? That's the skill you need to be at for you to get a job. Because you being a self-taught cybersecurity analyst, you were able to go ahead to, of course, get a job, and you're doing fantastically well. You're working remotely. That's amazing. All right. What are the common misconceptions out there that, as regards your skill level, that, you need to be at this point for you to apply for the job? What do you think about that?
Okay, thank you very much for that question. So the common misconceptions that we have in this part of tech, especially because in cybersecurity we have different parts. So you hear things like you don't have a computer science degree, so there's no opportunity for you, which is a lie. I don't have a cybersecurity degree or a computer science degree, and I'm here. That is one. Another thing is certifications. So in cybersecurity, certification is very important because that's what validates that you have the knowledge. But employers are more interested in the skills and the impact that you are giving into the organization. So as much as certifications are important, it is also important for you to have the skills. They go hand in hand. But the fact that you don't have certifications mean that you can't apply for the job. That is a total lie. It is not true. Another one is if you are not coding, then tech is not for you. That's not true. So learning how to code is an added advantage because, for instance, you want to learn Python. Python helps with automation and it helps kickstart your work faster and more efficient. But if you don't have coding skills, it does not mean that you can't go into tech. There are numerous tech roles that you can go into without having the need to code, like some parts of cybersecurity, GRC, working as a SOC analyst, all these are roles under cybersecurity. And also we have project managers, people in UI, UX, they don't code. Or you can just make sure that you understand the concept of coding, but not that you're coding like that. So these are some of the misconceptions that draw people back and they feel like they're not enough to be able to take up some roles or some job roles in the industry.
All right. Thank you very much
Yeah.
for that, Christiana. If you don't have the certifications, that does not mean you can't apply for the job. Please,
Exactly.
let's take note of that, just as Christiana mentioned. Okay, it's a very, very big one out there. All certifications. See, if you can do the work, the certificates are more like a padding, just to make you look good. Okay, just maybe to have a nice haircut and just to make you look good. But the skills, that's the actual content. Now, Taiwo, you were able to make that switch, okay, from banking into tech. When you were making that switch as well, was there any misconception that you probably heard about or that you know about, or something that you faced or you experienced yourself, Taiwo?
Yeah, so just to corroborate what Christina said, one of the misconceptions I had when I was, transitioning to IT, to technology, from banking operations, as somebody that has a background in chemical engineering, right, was very, I didn't study chemical engineering, computer science or computer engineering. But eventually I found out that you don't really have to study computer science, computer engineering to transition or to operate or to work in tech industry. That's one of the misconceptions that's also, my face with people transitioning to technology, especially for those who don't have that background, right? And one of the things you can do is to look for an area just like Christina said, you really don't have to know how to code. It's an example. Like, for example, when I was crossing to tech too, the area I really want to venture into, right, is area of programming, right? But even in the area of coding, it's also a very big space, right? You might be coding for application development, which is Java, JavaScript, and what have you. Initially, I was thinking, can I cope with Java, JavaScript, and the rest? But I found out that it's not an area for me. The area that, like I said, where I decided to carve a niche for myself is data. Data is something that I love to work with. So I just decided to say, okay, when it comes to data analysis, data manipulation, and what have you, which programming language is most popular and is used mostly? Python. Then I decided to go for Python. And right, so going back to what Christiana also said, you really don't have to, it's not mandatory for you to have the certification. What matters is the skill that you have. And one of the way of acquiring those skills is also to get involved in projects. One of the things that I've also had in my career is, a friend of mine said at the time that he has come to realize that I love getting involved in difficult projects. You know, when you get involved in projects, you have opportunity to own your skill, to improve your skill when you get involved in project, because every project have their own peculiarity. Every project, that's why it's a project in the first place. Project is something that you have never ventured into, right? It's not something that is operational, that is only in operation phase. It's something new you are working on. So there will always be challenges that will come up that you didn't plan for. And that's why it's a project. And that comes with acquiring some skill to be able to solve those problems. So it's also a valid point. You have to have passion, get involved in different projects to own your skill.
All right. Thank you very much for that, Tayo. I really love the fact you talked about projects. Okay, because that's something we sing. That's something I sing. And in terms of how can people get into the cycle, I personally like to call it the cycle of doom. And what is the cycle of doom? When you go ahead to apply for jobs, you see things like 3 years experience, you need 50 years experience, you need 200 years experience. So you might be wondering, was I even born then? Okay. And for you to get the job, you need experience. For you to get experience, you need the job. So I need to get a job. I need the experience to get the job. To get the experience, I need to get the job. So how do I now get into that cycle? How? It's just like I'm outside and there's really no door. And that is why like I mentioned, I love the fact you talked about projects, because something we've noticed is that you don't have to, there are different ways of gathering relevant work experience. It's not, you don't have to be in the job. You don't have to have gotten a job for you to have to gather experience. Another way you can do that is by working on relevant industry projects. Relevant industry projects, similar cases that you would work on while on the job. And that would also help in boosting your experience. So you're coming from a place of experience and would help you break into that cycle. And thank you very much for talking about that, Taiwo. That was a really, really good one. Really. All right. And thank you very much for that, Taiwo. Okay. So we've been able to see what imposter syndrome is. We've also been able to see how we can build confidence, how we can go ahead to apply for roles, even when we feel that we don't have the required skills, even when we feel that the job requirement says we need to do this and we can't do this, we can only do something else. That should not be a deterrent in terms of if you're applying for the role. You can go ahead to apply. And just like we mentioned, what's the worst that can happen? What's the worst? Then they say no. That's literally where you are at the moment. And that's, to me, I don't even think that is where you are at the moment, because of course you'd have gotten relevant interview experience. So for your next interview, you know how to perform even better. And that brings us to our last question. So I would like to get each and every one of our comments on the question. All right. So I want to what we talked a bit about this earlier. Okay, we mentioned something around this, but I want us to build more on it. What is the role of mentorship or having a community in terms of or having a community in overcoming self-doubt and imposter syndrome? All right, so what's the role of having a community in helping us to overcome self-doubt and imposter syndrome? I'm sure.
Okay, excellent. Thank you very much. Mentorship is powerful, and the role of mentorship cannot be overemphasized. In fact, if we don't learn anything from here today, it can be overemphasized. The role of mentorship comes across in different ways. First of all, I think we talked about it earlier. Mentors help you in terms of, reducing the timeline of your learning. Mentors help you with networking and connecting, right? And mentorship is not negotiable, right? But it's important to find mentors that you connect with, or are having a community in your season to help you overcome self-doubt. So someone who you're able to speak to about your challenges, how you're feeling, who would encourage you, and motivate you generally. And sometimes your mentor does not even have to be your senior. Sometimes your mentor is even somebody who's younger. So it's not even by the age, right? So it's just really about identifying that person who has that level of wisdom and who you connect with, who can encourage you. And so for me, I have a mentor who has been my mentor for many years. And whenever I have those struggles, I just want to bounce off. And it's just one word. It was just one sentence. So whatever it is, I don't know how she does her magic. And I'm just rejuvenated and motivated. So find that one person or more who's in your corner, or that group of people who's in your corner, and connect with them. But more importantly, don't be a taker alone. Be ready to give. It's a two-way street, right? So mentorship and mentee relationships will work better when it's a two-way street. It's not about one person just taking and taking. It's a two-way street. You're also able to offer something else in return. That's one. Two, if you haven't on this call, you should read the book Lean In by Sheryl Sandberg. It's a powerful book. And she was the CEO of Facebook for many years. And she talked about how she struggled even when she sat on C-suite executive meetings, how she struggled with imposter syndrome. So I learned a lot from that book as well, and it helped my journey. But basically, you can't overemphasize. Identify a good mentor. Your mentor is not your sister. They're not your mother. You don't have to have a personal relationship with them. Respect them. Have a quality time. Learning about managing mentorship mentees is a whole different course on its own, because I've heard a lot of people have bad cases with mentorship, but identify that community and just be ready to also be a giver as well. And diversity history. Thanks. That's all from my end.
Thank you very much, Sharon, for that. Fantastic. Thank you so much for that. So having a mentor, having a community is very, very important. Just like the community that you guys are in at the moment. All right. So I'm going to move to Christiana, and of course we would wrap up with Tyro. Christiana, please go ahead. So what is the relevance of having a mentorship or a community in terms of overcoming self-doubt?
Okay. Thank you very much, Sheon, for that. That was very, very profound in terms of mentorship. I mean, she has said basically everything that needs to be said. Especially giving back to a mentor. You're not just collecting from them. You should be able to tell them that, okay, this is what I've been doing. Because a lot of people just come to you on LinkedIn and tell you that they need mentorship. You as a mentee, what have you been doing before you even came? Let me know where I want to start from. Is it from scratch? Is it from the middle? Where? Let me know your problem. Also, you should also know how to help them too. You should find a need in which the mentor will always, want to put you on, want to help you to do things, volunteer for them. That's one of the ways to, catch a mentor and make them willing to teach you. And for community, I would say that community really helped me the most. Cybersecurity communities, I don't know if we have people in cybersecurity here. Cybersec Haven, Diary of Hackers, we do teamwork together. We help ourselves in terms of accountability. We're all growing together. In the community, people share ideas, people share job opportunities, we prepare each other. When anybody's having a problem, there's always somebody that is available to help you. I don't know, these communities are like my own ChatGPT. Any problem you are facing, there's nobody that has not faced that problem before. There's nothing new under the sun. We always get someone to help us. So community building, community support is very, very important. Very, very important.
Thank you very much for that, Christiana. I smiled, maybe almost laughed, okay, when you talked about the fact that you on LinkedIn you have some. Oh, can you mentor me? Can you mentor me? And what have you been doing yourself? Because I can attest to that as well. Seen lots and lots and lots of messages. Yeah. So what have you been doing from your own end as well? Of course, at 10 Analytics, we offer mentorship to each and every one of our participants. But when you want someone else, like maybe an individual mentor, you have to also come from the place of what have you been doing as well. Okay. And in terms of having the community support, community is very, very important. Everyone on the call right now, the reason why you were in the session yesterday and you are in the session right now, learning, seeing how you can succeed, seeing how you can overcome imposter syndrome, it's all because you are in a community. Tyro.
Yeah, wow, they've done judgment to this question, Sion and Christiana. So just for me to add also the fact that mentorship is something that is very vital, and one has to be intentional about it. Like they've spoken about, one has to be intentional and deliberate about it. As a matter of fact, you have to deliberate about the mentor you are choosing, right? Must be relevant to where you are going, and then must be somebody that has the expertise that also has your back. And like you have also said, there should be a form of feedback to the mentor also. If somebody has mentored you in an area, it's also important to give feedback to that person, because it's also encourage the person that is mentoring you. And like you said, that's also a way of giving back. I mean, that could be one or two things one can also do for the mentor. And as a matter of fact, you can also have mentees, people you are mentoring as well. It's a community. So not just taking, like Seun mentioned, it's not about taking and taking. One must also give back. And in the course of giving back, you also improve yourself. In the course of doing that, you also improve your own skill. So mentorship is very, very vital in everybody's career. You can't do without it.
And
Thank
I
you.
want to
Thank you
quickly
very much.
also add, I saw, sir, that you can have more than one mentor. We're now on the era where people have multiple jobs. Gone are the days where you're stuck in one job and you're doing the same job for 25 years. That era is over. Now we have people who have 3, 4, 5 jobs and they're excelling in all, right? So you can have one mentor in data analytics, have a mentor in something else, have multiple mentors and manage and sustain your relationships with them. And even mentorship for parenting, I mean, it's not cast in stone. I just wanted to add that as well. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that, Sharon. Thank you very much. Thank you, Taiwo. Thank you, Christiana. Thank you, Sharon. It's been fantastic hearing from you, listening to you guys. Like I said, I learned a lot. Okay. And I'm sure everyone on the call learned a lot as well. We're going to take questions. So I'm sure some of us, we have questions for our speakers. Okay. So we might not be able to take every question, but we do what we can. And so if you have a question, you can use the raise hand icon. You can use the raise hand icon. I'm calling you to, I would ask you to unmute, so you can unmute and ask your question. Okay. So Joy, I can see Joy is asking a question already, but I would want you to speak. Okay. So if you have a question, just use the raise hand icon. Just something like this. So use the raise hand icon. I know you want to speak, and then I will call on you to unmute. Okay. So if you have a question, raise hand icon. All right, and I'll call on you to unmute. So if you have a question, as I believe Ibrahim has a question. Okay, so Ibrahim, that is an emoji. Okay. But anyway, so I'm going to call on I think we have Ifechuko has some questions, then we have Joy, then we have Ibrahim. So I'm going to ask Ifechuko to unmute, and then Ifechuko, go ahead to ask your question, and then we take questions till when we can no longer take questions. Okay, so if I've asked you to unmute, please go ahead to ask your question. All right, so are you with us, Ifechuku?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Can you hear me?
Loud and clear, I can hear you. Yeah, we can hear you.
Good evening, everyone.
Hello.
Yeah, good evening. We can hear you.
This session has actually been enlightening, and then it has helped to build a bit of confidence. I just finished with the April cohort, of data science. Right. So my question is specifically in terms of choosing mentors. As a challenge I've always had is like you go into probably go on LinkedIn, try to find the mentors. You see a lot of people. So where exactly can you get these mentors? How do you know, okay, this is a person that I can pick as a mentor? You know, this is a challenge, and because you can see a lot of people that are good at what you're doing, but how do you know this is a specific person that you can pick as a mentor in the field?
All right. So I would want Tyrell. So Tyrell, please, if you can take that question.
Yeah, very good question. Very, very good question. Thanks for that question. So, one of the, I don't know, do you know Data Science Nigeria, or I mean Data Scientist Network? Are you aware of this community? It's a community for data scientists in Nigeria. Okay, just to give an example, one of the fastest way to take advantage of that is to look for that community. Like if you look at Nigeria now, there are different tech communities that we have. You can leverage on that. So with respect to, if I hear you've done training in data science, right? And you're looking for
Yes.
mentor from that area. So you can leverage on that. I can recommend that because I've mentored some people under Data Science Nigeria, now
Okay,
called
data
Data
science.
Scientist Network. Yeah. So you can even, so you can check them there on LinkedIn, Data Science Nigeria or Data Scientist Network. You can connect to that and take advantage of that platform. They do quite a lot of activities throughout the year. This year, I've also mentored some guys on that platform. So take advantage of opportunity like that. If you are unable to get on LinkedIn, so I will most likely recommend that for you because it's a platform you can take advantage of.
Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate this.
All right. Thank you very much for that, Tyrell, and thank you for your question, Ifechukwu. I believe that was a similar question. Joe had a similar question. If not, Joe, you can use the raise hand icon if you have a different question, and I will call on you. Okay. So I'm going to move to Ibrahim. Ibrahim, I'm going to ask you to unmute now so you can go ahead to ask your question.
All right. Yeah, thank you so much, Asosa. Thank you to all the facilitators. Good evening, everyone. My name is Ibrahim, as the rightly said. Please, I actually need help. So I'm going to actually summarize my thing, be very precise and put everything together.
Yeah.
And just like Taiwo, I've actually listened to your story, and it's a fascinating one. And like myself, I was actually in banking before. So I've been in operational banking for almost 9 years before I left Nigeria, presently in Canada. So while in banking as well, I go into system room to fix all those stuff and attend to people. I'm not a genius, but I know I'm very intelligent. So when I go to Canada, I put in for big data analytics and business intelligence. I was actually having challenge. So I was actually battling with myself. Like I know myself. I can actually handle things. I solve problems for people. I help people. But I'm having challenge presenting myself. I know giving back to family back home is there, having to settle in a new place, a lot of things. So I was I actually hate myself that I go to classes that I don't get what is going on there. So it was actually affecting. I've read about analytics in 2022. So I told myself, okay, I need to drop my French class. So I dropped the French class. I was being paid, but I don't mind, never mind. So I dropped the French class and I enrolled for analytics. And honestly, thank analytics. I'm saying this, thank analytics. Because before analytics, everything was blurry. I've said it in our class several times. But after analytics, I started understanding more things I've heard before that was blurry to me, now coming back to memory, understanding what was being said then I didn't get. So I was able to get things clear. So I was able to involve in more projects and having more understanding. Yet, I need to be clear that this imposter syndrome is actually with me presently. But I know that this is not me because I'm very intelligent. I'm not a genius, but I'm just saying this, that I know this is not me. I just need the breakthrough. Once I have the breakthrough and I actually get my leg on the ground, I know I can just go to places, do things. But recently, I know I've been putting more. Then I didn't actually have enough time because just alone here, having to pay tuition. I was able to like, okay, I went back to see it, wrote my stuff down that I was actually having problem in areas, battling with paying tuition, but thank God I'm almost through with just 1,000 and plus. So I'm always through with that. I've sorted that, but engaging in more project now, watching more stuff online. But I'm someone that believes in what is worth doing at all is worth doing well. If I need to, like, okay, if I want to be in this space, I cannot know everything because it's fast evolving. I have a lot of online things that actually belong to me. I receive mail. Python every day telling me, okay, this is a new update. So I know this is actually a real stuff. Yes. But whatever it is, what doing at all is what doing well. Let me still know that these I can do it. That's I'm not actually just like Taiwo said that, okay, Shion said, that you need to first ask yourself that, okay, 70, is it that before you apply, ask yourself, do you actually know this thing? Or you're just saying 70%? So I want to settle those aspects first. Then about the having someone to actually be your mentor. I don't mind paying. I actually want to have a mentor to tell me where I'm lacking. And when you have someone that actually teach you the exact things you have, just like Karantis have done for us, they will put you through things you actually need. You cannot learn everything, but the relevant things you actually need for you to have yourself going, to have the two-step going, and you learn the rest while on the job. While I was in banking, I didn't learn everything at once. But when I started working with ATM reconciliation, every day I do it and I learn new things every day I do it. That was when I knew that the more you do things, the more you actually get good at it. I do ATM before I had to beg the person to teach me. I almost paid the person. I got taught eventually and I started doing it every day. And each day I learn anything. Each day I learn it. So I believe once I actually have my legs on the ground, I'm I'm good to go. So please, I don't mind paying. I can do whatever it is. I do different stuff here just to get. I'm always through my tuition, just 1,000 plus. I'm ready to do anything. Pay the mentor, just someone to teach me. Have my hand. I'm ready to give back as well. And I believe in teaching someone because it stays. Yes, when you teach, it stays. One of the things I learned in analytics, in Tableau and other stuff, I actually taught someone that never left. So I believe in that as well. I did that when I was in institution as well. So let me just get someone to like, okay, do this, do this. I saw one thing on LinkedIn. I actually went to the guy privately, said, please, can you, the guy is younger than me, but never mind. Can you please teach him this? And he told me, and I respected that he said the person that his own mentor to wouldn't like him giving this out. I feel bad, but I need to understand why he actually said that. So I need someone to like, okay, these are the things you need. I'm ready to give my time. Yes.
Okay, thank you very much for that question, Ifechiko. I believe it was directed towards Taiwo. All right. So Taiwo, please go ahead.
Okay, so just to respond, if I get the question right, you've learned some things in 10 analytics. So one of the things I will encourage you to do, whatever you have learned now, look for opportunity to apply that in any project, right? Look for projects to where you can apply that. Then for now, also look for an area. Have you decided an area that you want to focus on? So the first thing is you must look for your passion, the area you have passion for. If it's the area you have passion for, then go all the way. Going all the way means that whatever you are learning, put it to practice. Putting it to practice means execute project, implement, get involved in one project or the other. You can do personal projects. It doesn't have to be project for an organization, right? And by the way, the cloud computing has made it easier for us. You can set up your own server almost free of charge. You can set up server on AWS. You can set up server. You can provision server on Azure. You can provision server on Google Cloud and shut it down in less than 2 hours. You will not be charged, you will not be charged anything. So you can set up any environment and do personal projects that are open source projects you can also do. With respect to mentor, of course, like I said, data science is a very big network, and that's why I'm laying emphasis on it. And it's a platform where I've also contributed to, and I've also learned from the place. So look for such big community, interact with them, interact with professionals, and choose, like we all said, you can have multiple mentors. right? People that can mentor you. But more importantly, whatever you have learned, for example, from 10 analytics, put it into practice by executing projects. It doesn't have to be project for an organization. You can do projects for yourself.
Thank you very much, Tyrell, for that. So, Ibrahim, as Tyrell mentioned, this regards overcoming imposter syndrome. Start with what you have at the moment, because learning never ends. That's what, of course, we talked about. Sharing, Christiana, and Tyrell have spent a lot of time talking about continuous learning. Learning never ends, but what you've learned, what you have, it's enough to get you a role, and of course, you can always build up from there. So go ahead to apply. What is the worst that can happen? Always ask yourself that question. All right, what is the worst that can happen? Oh, let's even say I don't know anything. I don't even know what data science is about. And you go ahead to apply and you get an interview. And then they say no during the interview. That is only going to build your confidence. At least now you know it's really, really possible for you to get a job. That your CV is good enough for you to get a role. Okay, and that you just need to brush up yourself in terms of the interview, and that you'll be fine. So whatever it is you have at the moment, your current skills, build on that, just like Tyrell mentioned, and go ahead to apply. And of course, you'll be fine. All right, thank you very much for that question, Ibrahim. So I will take Tokyo. All right, so Tokyo, I see your hand is raised, so I'm going to ask you to unmute. Tokyo, so please go ahead to ask your question.
Yeah, good evening. I said, I see.
Yeah, Aisha is fine actually, so you can call me Aisha. That's fine.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
I did the October last year cohort for business analyst. So my question is, how can one get into all these projects, most especially those projects you talked about? Is it Taiwan? Those complex projects, because that will.
So there's this feedback coming from your end, Tokyo. Okay, there's this feedback coming from your end.
Can you see it?
I can hear you now. Yeah.
Okay. So I was asking for projects, all those complex projects Mr. Tao talked about, on how we can get those projects and get involved in them. That's my question.
All right. Thank you very much for that question, Ifechukwu. So, Ifechukwu is asking about where we can get, I think I just, oh, that was not Ifechukwu, that was Tokyo, sorry. So Tokyo is asking where can we get projects, more projects to work on, to build our skill and all of that. So I'm going to go with Tyrell, and then of course I would want Sharon to also chip in to add in our knowledge on where we can get projects to work on to build our skills. Tyrell.
Yeah, so there are open source projects you can be involved in. For example, like different projects on GitHub. More importantly, even YouTube, there are a lot of information you can get on YouTube with respect to project. If you have looked for an area to focus on, for example, if it's data and AI or analytics, there are loads of projects on this area. It could be project on data streaming. For example, data streaming could be an area you want to focus on. And the fact is, I mean, like I said before, look at the trend also in the area of data and analytics. What is trending, right? If you look at what is trending, what are the projects that you can do from that area? Data streaming alone, there are loads of projects on data streaming, Apache, Kafka, name them, Airflow, what have you. You can look for those projects on YouTube. There are projects you can also get on, so you can also get the GitHub for source codes on this project. There are different platforms. There is also Slack. Slack is also another platform you can leverage on, right? You can also involve in, if you have opportunity of internship, sometimes when people go for internship where they may not be paid, they may either be paid not much or not be paid at all, because your objective is to have the experience, right? So that's also another area you can look out for internship.
All right. Thank you very much for that, Tyrell. I'm sure.
Okay, thank you very much. Thanks, Taiwo. Well said. Okay, so in addition to what Taiwo has said, I'm sure everybody on the call knows Upwork. On Upwork, there are usually many opportunities where you can, apply and join some project. You can register to indicate the skill that you have, and globally, different employers or recruiters can contact you to jump on different projects. And there is lots of virtual assistant opportunities that come up now where you can do short projects, etc. And then also, if you're already working, if you have a job, for example, and there's an IT department or a technology team that you're not even part of, you're trying to diversify, it's a good opportunity to volunteer to help them. They have maybe SAP, they want to launch a project, a portal, etc. Volunteer to, and let them even see the value of your work and the knowledge that you have, right? Even if you don't have your certification yet, like Christiana said earlier, volunteer to join them, and then you can put that on your CV because you'll be acquiring some knowledge. Also, you want to diversify, so be ready to volunteer to join, to take on IT opportunity roles. But I have a very popular saying: if there's no seat on the table, create your own table, right? The market is large. And what that means is that you can actually start a project. The project has you don't have a mission. The only mission is to ascertain and show that you have the capacity to implement and do the work, right? Put a team together. You guys come up with a project, see that you can do it to execution, and let that be your portfolio. That I did this from scratch. It wasn't for a client. It was for me and my group of people. We did this, etc. But we did it anyway. That can go on your profile. That's when you go out. That's when what we say can do, can die, right? So, so there's a lot of opportunities, but just a few I'd like to share. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Sharon. Thank you, Taiwo. And what Sharon said, that is very, very on point. Okay. You don't have to have projects from one place. You can come up with problems by yourself, work with a team. Of course, you're already in a community, the Analytics community. You can the Analytics alumni community. You can reach out to some of your colleagues, come up with a problem and try to fix that. That is actually a very, very valuable project that you can add to your portfolio, add to your CV. And some other places you can get projects from. You can get projects from Kaggle. All right, so you can go on Kaggle. You have some different data sets that you can work on. Dari.io is also a very good platform where you can get numerous projects from. But as long as you worked on projects, of course, you did work on projects during the training with Analytics, you had the internship, all of those should are enough for you to get the role. So while I want everyone on the call to understand this, while you are building, while you are working on more things, while you are learning some more, that should not put a pause in terms of you applying for roles, because learning never ends. You can't go ahead to say, because I want to work on a project, you work on the first project and you say, oh, I need to work on the second project. You go ahead to work on the second project, oh, I need to work on the third project. And it never stops. Because while you're working on the third project, trust me, the fourth project is going to be created. If no one creates it, I'll probably create it myself and send it online. All right, so there's going to always be a project out there. And that should not stop you from applying. It's something you can do side by side, okay? We're going to take the last question. So I want Sean to take this question. So Ibrahim is asking. Ibrahim sent this to the chat box. Ibrahim is asking. And you spoke about this earlier, Sean, and that's the reason why I'm directing this to you. As regards applying for a role, so Ibrahim is struggling with pressure, okay? As regards applying for a role, completing my program is stopping me as I have limited time to work. Is there any advice on how I can go about this, Sean?
Okay, thank you. So when Ibrahim says he has limited time to work, does it mean by law in terms of what his visa allows, the number of hours he's eligible to work? Is that what he means? Ibrahim, can you clarify? When you say you have limited time, is it because by law, your visa allows you to work only a certain number of hours, or your schedule is so busy you don't have time to work? Which one of them? Okay, your visa rules. Okay, fantastic. So if you're in the UK, the visa rules, I think it's 40 hours, if my memory serves me right, 40 hours a week, which would be give or take 2 days. You're in Canada. Okay, so regardless of the number of hours, the rules are the rules, so you must align by the rules, right? But those rules only apply for physical work if my memory serves me right. So in terms of, but again, remember, the world is now global. So there are a lot of global opportunities. it still should not stop you from jumping on projects. We've talked about many projects today that you can still jump on to build your portfolio and experience. The whole idea is not for you to give you financial gain for now, obviously, is to obviously improve your capacity. So do the work that you are allowed to do within the confine of visa rules for your location, but shouldn't still stop you from being able to get more experience from projects. So that by the time you're done with your course, you'll be accumulating the projects you've gotten involved in and the experience you've been able to acquire based on the limitation of the number of hours that you're eligible to work. You can volunteer. There's a lot of community on here. You guys already have a whole community on here already, right? So leverage and partner with some people and see what project you can start to come up with to help build, your portfolio and add more experience into your portfolio. And then by the time you're done, including the experience you've acquired from your internship, I'm sitting here and say I'm presently applying for an internship both in Canada and globally. I'm registered to Canada. Fantastic. So you're already making the right moves. Remember, you only need 1 yes. So don't be discouraged. Stay motivated and keep pushing on. You only need 1 yes. You could get a million no's. The day you get 1 yes, everything else is irrelevant, right? So, but just keep pushing at it. Don't get frustrated. Keep, talking about it. And more importantly, leverage on your network and come up with a project that you can boldly say, oh, during my course, we did this project and here is the outcome, etc. And I wish you all the best.
Yeah, thank you very much for that, Cheryl. And yes, so Ibrahim, you are currently on the right path. I can see you've registered on different platforms, okay? But remember, Ibrahim, learning never stops. All right. So while you're learning, because you're doing a lot of learning at the moment, also apply. Now you talked about the visa rules, and Cheryl has done a fantastic job applying, talking about all of that. She also mentioned Upwork. So on Upwork, you have more flexible hours. You can work on different projects, determine your work hours. So it's easier for you to stay within the confines of what you are allowed to do, and thereby also building your experience and of course making the Benjamins, as I always say, making cool money. Okay, so that's something you can leverage if of course you are not able to have like the 9 to 5 and all of that. Okay, Upwork is a good platform for you. Freelancing is something that many persons should explore, and that's what you can also take a look at, Ibrahim. So at this point, I would say thank you very much to my speakers, Christiana, to Shaun, to Taiwo. Thank you very much for the wonderful session. I'm sure we all benefited a lot. Of course, let's not forget about the ambassadorship program. So we spoke about that yesterday. A form will be sent across for those interested. Okay, and yeah, thank you everyone. Please, if you enjoyed the session, send I really enjoyed the session to the chat box, and you can also send in your LinkedIn details. All right, so we can network. I'm also trying to do the same for all the speakers we have on the call. Okay, and yeah, I'm going to let everyone speak. I want to hear us speak on how the session went. All right, so if the session really went well for you, you can unmute and say, the session went well, and just say thank you to each and every one of the speakers. So, guys, you have the floor. You can go ahead to unmute yourself and just say thank you to the speakers for joining us today.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
so
I need more responses. I was expecting this was going to be
Thank you so
routing.
much.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so
Thank
much.
Wow, great.
you.
Now,
This
this
is
is what I
very
love to
lovely.
hear.
Thank you
It's
so
really a
much.
great session. We
Thank
enjoyed
you
it.
so much.
Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
More
Thank
this
you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone. So thank you, everyone. This was a fantastic 2 days. Of course, from time to time, Analytics is going to be bringing more and more of those kind of things. So ensure you stay tuned. Thank you very much, Shaun. Thank you, Taiwo. Thank you, Christiana, for taking out the time to speak with us. And it's been a very, very fantastic 2 days. Like I said, send your LinkedIn details to the chat box. All right, send your LinkedIn details to the chat box so we all can connect with one another. Until I speak to you guys again, it's been great speaking to you once again. It's Aisha, and I will see you when next I see you. Cheers, everyone. Have a lovely day. Bye.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Bye, everyone. Cheers.